So welcome back to learning a little bit of palmistry with Mary. Now today, I think it's important that you know how to do a handprint. So I have everything ready here. I feel like Blue Peter at the moment. I might need to get a bit closer, but I was trying to get the camera angle right. So you need some A4 paper. I actually print mine. I haven't got to show that. I print mine and I put a dotted line, their names, the name of the person, and also where I took the handprint. So it might be at someone's house, it might be an event or whatever, but I have that on my paper because I have to keep client records. But what you will need to be able to take handprints is 3 bits of equipment. They're messy. There's absolutely no way of doing it not messy. And and a pencil, okay? Which obviously I've left completely out of reach for myself. So first of all, what you need, oh God, you can see mine's been used a lot. This is a piece of vinyl, I think it is. So it's a little, you can generally buy it with the paint, but it's a little piece of sort of plasticky, rubbery type of stuff that's just big enough to put the roller on. You're not putting anybody's hands on here because basically what you want is a roller like this, and you don't want a roller too big because you won't be able to get into the centre of the hand. So you need your bit of vinyl, or it's actually a bit like a kitchen towel, you know, one of those waterproof ones. But please don't ask me what it's made of because I've got no idea, but it's type of vinyl stuff. You need, look how messy I am already, you need a roller because you're going to roll the paint. And this paint that I've got, don't ask me what brand it is, I don't know because I keep buying it from the same place. I don't even know what the name of it is, but I'll put a link to where you can get it. But this particular one is made by a firm called Schmink, and it's Elfenbein Schwarz. Basically it's black, and it's a water-based paint because you don't want to be using a paint that you can't wash off your hands or your clients. Well, not that you're getting any clients because it's just an introduction to palmistry. Anyway, so first off, now you should be able to see what I'm doing, hopefully. You get a little squodge of the stuff and you put it in the centre, so you just push some up, put it into the centre, ta-da, of your piece of vinyl. Okay, get your roller and you roll it up and down on the piece of vinyl until the whole of the roller is covered with ink. Now it might happen that you haven't completely covered it. You won't know that until you start rolling it on the person's hand. Now I'm going to only be able to do my left hand. I can't roll my right, so obviously you'd be doing both of the person's hands, and if you're going to do your own then fine. But what you want to make sure is that you've got the paint reasonably covered on the roller, and you're going to roll it all over the hand like this. Okay, I'm going to need to add some more because I can see now that I haven't got enough. This is such a messy flipping process. And you also need to make sure that wherever it is you're doing it, you don't shut your door because you're going to get black all over your door handle. Now I'm only doing one hand and I have got my door shut, that's just so my husband doesn't walk, or the dog doesn't walk in on me. And you've got to do it quick because this stuff dries ever so fast. Okay, so you cover all of the hand, all of the fingers, and all the way around the side of the thumb. Okay, so it's going to look like this, and then you place it. Now I tend to do both hands because I don't want to use loads of paper, but I tend to do it like this so that I can get both hands on the piece of paper. But just for the process so I can show you how it works. So you press it down, boom. So you've got it right in the centre of the piece of paper, and you get the pencil, and that's really important that you put your pencil and you draw all the way around. And I'm going to explain mine in a minute. You draw all the way around the person's hand, okay? Boom, like that, so every flipping finger. And the next thing you have to do, this is what a lot of people don't do, and then they wonder why they've got an absolutely rubbish version of their handprint. You then lift your paper up and you press in the centre of the palm with your, don't know what bit of the hand that's called, lower handy thing, so that when you pull it off, ta-ta, you've got the most fabulous handprint, okay? So if I bring this up to the screen, there we are, you can see everything. I have missed a bit of finger there. You cannot put the hand back on in the same place, it won't work. But that is a good enough print to be able to work with and do something with. You can see all of the lines, And the key thing, because this is what we're going to cover in the next lesson, you can see the fingerprints, because that's really important. Obviously the police use that, and if you want to, because it depends how much time you've got and how much you want to know about the person, you do the thumb, okay, and then there's this technique that you're supposed to roll it. I can't be asked. You just press your thumb onto the paper, lift up, and then once again you should be able to see that. There he is there. Let me hold it so the camera focus. Come on, camera, focus. Something like that. Now I haven't got marvellous eyesight, and seeing fingerprints is tricky, so I actually have in my reading bag here a little magnifying glass, because even though you've taken the print, tomorrow we're going to be doing fingerprints, you need to be able to really zoom in on that print. Now if you're going to do a scan of the person's hands or your hands, you put both hands down on the scanner. Don't ask me how you do it, because I don't know, because you'd have to have every other hand free, but you want both hands down on the scanner, wait for it to scan, and then you need to turn the hands over, because when you're reading someone's hands, it's not just the palms, you want to see the other side of the hands as well, because we're going to cover that when we do fingers, okay? I am now so covered in paint. So there we go. We've got a nice hand print. We've drawn all the way around it. The reason for that being, if the person's got incredibly wrong fingernails, you can make a little note next to it that that's not their finger, that's their nails. Yeah, because sometimes it happens. Yeah, but the key for this is that you make sure that when the person's hand goes down the piece of paper, you've got space in between each finger for the pencil to get through. Now, I was telling you yesterday about the people that put the hands out like this and their fingers so close together. Don't do that with a hand print. It'll be an absolute SHIT print. You need to make sure their fingers are wide enough apart, not just to get the pencil through, but also to be able to see exactly how the fingers go, because we're going to be measuring things. Yeah. One of the things we're going to do tomorrow when we do fingers is we're going to measure the length of this finger compared to that finger, because that means something. Okay, so do your thumb as well if you want to. I'll explain that when we come into fingerprints. But the main thing is that you need to be able to see all the major lines: lifeline, headline, heart line, fate line. Those are the major lines. And in taking a handprint, you can then also see the minor lines, which we'll be covering in another lesson as well. So marriage line, line of Mercury, line of Apollo. Oh my God, I've got one whopper of a line going across down here. My Mercury line, I'm just making, that's about money. So it's like, yeah. And now, when I take people's handprints, sometimes, even though I've done the whole thing, pressing, so you put the paper on, you put your hand over their hand, you use the ball of your hand to press into the dip that's in the middle, because if you don't do that, you won't get to the centre of that, and then, whoa, you are missing the most important part of the middle of someone's hand. What have I started talking about here? So you need to press, and I've completely forgotten what I was saying. You need to have the whole of a person's hand, and you need to do the pressing thing. You need to take the prints, and the reason is because if you don't have a hand print, you're going to be sitting there for a good half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour, holding the person's hand. Now, this is what they used to do back in the day, and it's tiresome. You really don't want to be holding someone's hand for that amount of time. It's like, so take the prints, and I've got prints which I will share with you. Some of the people are no longer with us. At some point I had green paper and I used brown paint. Don't ask me why. Another time, these are the ones I've showed you already. I used, and this was really nice, I love doing this. This was black paper and white ink. It's not ink, white paint. Water-based paint is what you need. Now they bring a lovely print up. However, the disadvantage of that is that if you want to write things on them, you're going to have a white pen. So they're only really good for demonstrations and stuff. They do last a long time. So as I said yesterday, this one here, this chappie, I've had him since, it wasn't the 80s, it was the 70s, 1979. I've had that one since. And the nice thing about using the water-based paint, size of A4 paper is that you can now keep that forever. It's not going to fade, it isn't going to fall apart, and you've also got something to work with, because if you want to be able to measure things, distances, all of that, which is another thing that's part of Palmistry. Look, my screensaver's just gone. I hope I haven't lost anything. So it won't waffle. Handprints are important. We need to have handprints for the lesson we've got tomorrow. So go off, get yourself some water-based paint, order it online, get yourself a nice roller with a rubber bit to it, and you have one piece of vinyl or whatever the flipping stuff is called. I'll find out myself. I'll put it in the show notes. So I hope that's helpful. We'll be back tomorrow, and tomorrow we're doing fingers. Bye-bye.